Hey everyone, welcome to the Decorative Den, a look inside my craft room where I share all things crafting, planning, and cross stitch. My name is Charity and I am so happy to have you here with me today for Flosstube number 3. I have some finishes to share with you, a few new starts since my last video, as well as some fun secondhand finds. So if you are interested in talking all things cross stitch with me, then just keep watching. All right, so before we dive into my stitching, I just want to apologize for the state of my hands. I know they are not that pleasant to look at right now. The weather has gotten very dry here in Virginia, and pretty much from now through like April, I'm just going to be dealing with dry, cracked hands. So it is what it is. But let's start with some FFOs and some finishes. And actually the first FFO I want to share with you today is something that I stitched back in my 20s, probably 10 years ago at this point, if not more than that. And it is this sweet little trick or treat pattern. And this is from the shop Red Bear Designs. And I really, really wish I could find this pattern. I bought it as a digital download, back when I stitched this, and it's just lost to time. It must be saved on like a laptop I had years ago, and I tried to find the shop again, but it looks like their Etsy shop is closed, and from their Instagram it seems like the store has not been operating for a while now, and so unfortunately I don't think you can get this pattern still. But I was putting out my Halloween decorations right after I had filmed my last Flosstube video, which was about 2 months ago. So yeah, 2 months since my last update. And while I was taking out my decorations, I saw this in my Halloween bin. It's something that I stitched in my early 20s and I have put out from time to time. But, now that I'm very into cross stitch again, I thought this was such a fun stitch to look at, especially because, I dabbled in cross stitch here and there before 2024. And this was one of those times where I'm sure it had been a while since I had stitched anything and I just had an itch to stitch something. And so I picked this pattern and I did this. It looks like it is 4/1 on 14 count Aida. I'm guessing it's 14 count. That's what it looks like to me. But I clearly was trying to do a 2/1, and I think I did a loop start with 2 strands of floss, not really putting together at the time that would make this 4 strands of floss. And so you can really tell. And I remember when I was stitching it as well, that I struggled so hard getting like that many strands of floss through these little holes. And some of the stitches, especially through this little devil character, are so wonky, but I still love it. It's like such a moment in time, and it kind of shows me that like I've learned a lot and grown a lot as a stitcher and crafter. And so I had a lot of fun displaying this year for Halloween, and I just put it on this little stand from Modern Hoopla, and I had it, standing up like this. And the back of it just has a piece of orange felt. I had finished this in a hoop back when I made it 10 years ago, and I did just hot glue everything together. So not the best finish, but it definitely works. And like I said, it is just like a fun snapshot in time for me. And so I thought it would be fun to share that with you before I put it away with the rest of my fall and Halloween decorations. So my only new this year stitching FFO I have to share with you are my cross stitch gift tags, and you may have seen them already. I did a Flosstube extra as my last video where I went through the steps of how I make cross stitch gift tags, and so if you haven't seen that, I will link it in the cards in case you're interested. But I have been working very hard on making a bunch of gift tags to attach to like treat bags and cookie tins. Hopefully you can see all these. Let me just double check that you are seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, they seem to be spaced out just fine, so you can see them all. So I have been working on making these to attach to treat bags and cookie tins, like I said, mainly because I had such big dreams for my Christmas stitching. I had a long list of gifts I wanted to stitch for people, and the truth is, November is just such a chaotic month for me at work. It always is. It's like one of my busiest months at work, and I just was not going to get the stitching done that I wanted to. And so I switched gears and decided to do just these fun, tiny little stitches, decorate them with all of my random paper craft supplies I have in my stash, and make just like these darling little tags to give to my loved ones. And then that way I am giving like a handmade gift to more people. And my hope is that some of the people I give these to will keep them and they can double as little ornaments for their trees. I am going to be kind of strategic in who I give these to because they were, you know, more work than a regular gift tag. And so I want to make sure they go to people who I think will really appreciate the effort put into them and will want to display them in future years. But all of the stitches that I have here came from this free DMC chart. I'll put it on the screen here. It is called, I think it's called Holiday Advent or Christmas Advent. It is a freebie, and so it is a great freebie if you just want to do a ton of tiny, quick little stitches. I think any tiny little motif would work for this project, but I've had a lot of fun doing these. All of them are on 14 count Aida, either, you know, plain white or this nice green color. And I used some of the called for colors if I had them, but it's all just stuff I pulled from stash. And you can see, like with the little hats, I wanted to make two of them, one for a blue and white, more winter theme, one more traditional Christmas themed. And I do have a few more I need to make. So I have these 7 so far. And let me think. I need to make 9 at the very least, maybe 11 if I can get a few more stitches in, but they've been a lot of fun to make, and the stitches I can do over 1 to 2 lunch breaks, so that has been really nice during a busy time of life. So these are my only true FFO for right now. Moving on to my finishes. The first finish I have is this cutie. This is Decorating Owl by Jessie Schofield, and it was in the 2023 ornament edition of Just Cross Stitch. I do have a copy of it here. This is what the magazine looks like that it was in. And there it is, the finished piece. And so I did this as called for on 14 count black Aida with all the called for DMC colors. And it was so much fun. I enjoyed that. It was a small, quick stitch. It had beading that I got to try out. And I really love these little pine needles doing a mix of both the white and the green floss so they appear snowy. I have never like blended flosses like that before in any project, and I love how it looks. I think I'm going to start doing that in some other projects where it makes sense just because it looks so beautiful. But I plan to turn this into an ornament, and the model is a square ornament. I think I said in my last video as well, I'm going to try to do a circle ornament because I kind of like I like the process of making those better. I feel like I'm a little better at it, but we'll see. It might be a giant circle, so to be determined. I will definitely either show it in my next Flosstube or at least show a picture of it, since it will be something I am finishing as a Christmas present, but I really love how that turned out. And then my next finish can either be called 2 finishes or like a new start / whip, depending on how you think about it. But it is these 2 little cuties. I want to make sure you can see them both on camera here. And this little sweet pumpkin and trick or treat bag are both from this pattern, Halloween Silhouettes, and this is by Forever Friend Needlework Designs. This is a vintage cross-stitch pattern that I got in a lot of Halloween vintage cross-stitch patterns from eBay, and I purchased the lot mainly for this pattern. I love these simple Halloween silhouettes. I mean, they are just classic shapes. They're the trick-or-treat pail, the pumpkin, a witch, a cauldron, a black cat, a ghost, spider. What's the other one? Oh, there's like a moon with a bat in front of it. Like, just classic Halloween images, which I absolutely love. And so I stitched 2 of them like literally on a whim one day. I got the pattern and then my daughter was sleeping and I stitched both of these during one of her naps because they are super simple, super fast. And I thought I was just going to do the 2 and then turn them into ornaments and display them this year for Halloween. That was kind of like the motivation. But once I did 2, I was having so much fun that I was like, I actually want to stitch every single one of these. And I think I want to turn them into a cute garland. Like, I'll have the little stitched images and then maybe like a felt pom-pom or something in between them. And so I want to make a full garland of all the images and hang it on my mantle next year for Halloween. That's like the goal. But I just did these 2 so far so I could focus on other projects this year. They are on 16 count Aida, and this is Pumpkin by Fiber on a Whim. And I think this is the first project I've ever done on a hand-dyed Aida. I love how soft it is. I love the very subtle modeling. And I think it's just like the perfect color for these little Halloween silhouettes. So that will do it for all of my finishes for this video. I do have one other new start, and let me just organize all my stuff over here. I have like a stack of things that I thought would keep me organized, but really it's not. But my other new start is from this book, Peanuts All Year Long by Leisure Arts. I've shown this before on my channel. This is another eBay purchase, and I love every one of these and will probably stitch every one at some point in time. But the first one I'm working on here is this little Woodstock turkey. I wanted a Thanksgiving stitch and I thought this one was just perfect. Here is mine. So I still have it in the hoop, and I am doing this on a 16 count natural Aida, just Charles Craft brand. And let me tell you, I do love this turkey and I cannot wait to finish it because I think it'll be absolutely adorable. But this has just been such a hot mess of a project for me. First off, I definitely miscounted somewhere in these back feathers, and it has just, I've just not been able to correct it, is what I'm trying to say. And generally, I totally am a fudge it instead of fix it kind of person. It's very rare for me to frog my stitches or start again. And so I kind of made a mistake on this and then was like, oh, I'll be able to fudge it. But I have found that like with every layer of color in these feathers, my mistake just gets weirder and weirder, and I'm like more and more off count and more making things up. And so we'll see. I think it'll all be okay in the end. But yeah, so that's my first like error. And then the second is when I kitted this up, I did it very late at night, randomly when I just like had the urge to start a Thanksgiving project. And you can see I have like no fabric on the sides. The fact that I messed up these stitches means the whole thing, 1, was off center to start with, and 2, has just become more and more off center. And so I'm gonna have like no excess fabric on this side for finishing. So I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do. I did want to do a flat finish for this and maybe display it on some kind of board. I don't think I'll frame it. I think I'm going to attach it to a board of some kind, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when I finish it. And then the other thing I'll say, which I totally should have paid attention to when picking my fabric, is this has a surprising number of quarter stitches in it. A lot of it help create like the little details along woodstock and just give the feathers a specific shape that isn't so geometric, I guess, or isn't so blocked. But the quarter stitches are hard to do on this Aida cloth, and so I am going to look at the patterns again, and for the next one I do out of that book, I might try a linen or at least something that's not Aida. Just because if they're going to have as many quarter stitches as this one, I don't want to do these projects on Aida anymore. It's been a challenge, but it is coming along. The last thing I have to do is do one more color around here on the edge of these feathers. It's going to be this deeper pink color. And then I do all of my back stitching. And I'm really hoping that the back stitching just kind of brings all my airs together and makes it look fine. So we'll see. I will again show you how this is in my next video. It'll probably be a picture as well since I'm hoping to gift this one. But if it comes out really weird, I'll keep this one and make a different one for the person I'm going to give it to. But yeah, that is my little Woodstock turkey from the Peanuts Leisure Arts book. And then that's all I have in terms of new starts. The rest of the things I've been working on are my whips. And so let me grab the first one here. Okay, I'm sorry. This is totally still in the Q-snap, and I realize that makes it very difficult to see some of my stitches, but as always, I'm filming this during nap time, and so my time is limited. But this is Haunted Cuckoo Clock by Tiny Modernist. This is her 2024 Halloween Sal, and I am very behind as the Sal is done. It ended in October. And I have completed part 1, which is the clock face. And then this part I'm working on is part 2. The last time I showed this, I was still working on part 2, but I was over on this side. I did finish everything. I know it's hard to see, but I finished the tree and the little owl, and have been working my way over to the opposite side. And, I should put a picture of the actual piece up here. So here is what the complete piece looks like. The third release is the top portion, and the fourth release that came out in October is the bottom of the cuckoo clock. And so this is something that I worked really hard on the week of Halloween. It was my main stitchy project that week, which was a lot of fun to just focus in and get this side finished up and start on the other half of the second release. And then I have put it away since then, even though it's still in the Q-snap. I have not worked on it in November, and that was not intentional. It just is kind of how it happened. And so I'm thinking I probably should take this out of the Q-snap, iron it, and kind of put it away for a few months while I just focus on finishing up some Christmas stitching. I have some other things I want to start, and to be honest, I'm a little burnt out on some of my Halloween stitching. I think I want to shift focus to a few other things. But yeah, so I will probably, I think I have, oh yeah, okay, I have some thread in the back there. So I'll probably finish off this tree that I'm working on, and then, like I said, I'll probably take this out of the Q-snap and let it sit for a while. This is on a 16 count printed Aida, and this is the Called For Aida by, I'll put the name on the screen of who this printed Aida is by, and it's a dream to stitch on. I really love it. It's been a really fun piece, and I think it'll definitely, I will love stitching on it when I pull it back out again. I'm thinking I might do like a halfway to Halloween stitching like in April. And so I might pull this back out and just make it my main stitch in April. We'll see. But yes, that is the Haunted Cuckoo Clock by Tiny Modernist. And then my other whip I've been working on is Dance 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 by Mama Witch Cross Stitch. So let me grab that. All right, here is the pattern for Mama Witch cross stitch. This, I've been working on this in every video, and I've been working hard on my pumpkin lady. The last time you saw her, I'm pretty sure I had finished her head, but I had not done her hat. And I am so happy to say that I finally finished my pumpkin lady. Here, this is like, whoop, that's a little wonky because I took it out of the Q-snap. I've had it just kind of folded gently in a project bag. But here she is. She is totally done. I'm trying to get this. All right, so you can see her. All right, so she is totally done. I finished her hat. She has this darling little pumpkin in her hat. And then once I finished her, I went and did 2 of the flowers. And then I decided to take her out of the Q-snap and give myself a little break on this because finishing my little pumpkin lady was a big goal for this project. And I think just like the Haunted Cuckoo Clock, I'm going to let this one sit through at least through December, through the holiday season for this one. And then I'll pull it back out in like January or February to start working on either the frog or I might continue with the flowers. I haven't decided yet. But this is another one that once I took it out of the Q-snap, I realized when I bought the fabric, I meant to put it in the Q-snap this way because the pattern is like just slightly wider than it is tall. And I did not. I'm stitching it in the incorrect way. And so I again will have like 0 margins on the side here. So this is one that I know I want to frame when it's finished. And I'm wondering if I need to just sew fabric on the sides to frame it. I don't know, to be determined. That's like very far down the road because I am a super slow stitcher and this is a project that I would like to have done for next Halloween. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is on 14 count black Aida. I love this stitch and I'm super happy that I finally got my pumpkin lady done. And I guess I should say all DMC, all the called for DMC. And that is the same for the Haunted Cuckoo Clock. I forgot to mention that, but I used all called for DMC for that as well. So before I move on to plans and my little bit of haul, which is all like secondhand things I'm excited to talk with you about, I want to do some mentions, which is new for me in my Flosstube, but I was so like surprised and grateful that Kelsey Lee and Things mentioned my channel in one of her recent Flosstubes, and I thank you, Kelsey. That was just like so kind of you. It made my day. And I really love the idea of just shouting out channels that you've been watching and are interested in. And so that's something I would like to start doing in my Flosstubes as well. And so my first mention is Kelsey Lee and Things. She is such a creative person. I'm going to put her YouTube channel on the screen for reference, and she is just such a creative person. Like, I really enjoy her videos. She has so many creative finishes for her stitching, and then she also does quilting and just general crafting, and she will occasionally share other things she's making, and it is just so interesting to see the things she creates. In one of her videos, she shared some stuff she had put together for a craft fair she was doing, and she had like notebooks that she made out of old, I think they were VHS cases, either old VHS or DVD cases of like classic Disney movies and just like, you know, good feel retro films. And I was just so blown away with how creative that is and just how creative in general she is. So definitely a great person to watch if you are looking for fun finishing ideas or just interested in crafting in general. I also have been watching a lot of Stitched by Immy. She is in the UK and she is younger and just so sweet. She is like one of those people I watch because she has not only fun stitches to see and to hear her talk about, but also because she has just such a sweet and relaxing voice. I love when I can just put on a channel and like, it's almost therapeutic to hear her soothing voice as I'm stitching. She does a lot of Ada kits with fun, like aspirational or motivational quotes on them. Lots of just like good vibes. Her videos always put me in a good mood. So she is definitely worth a follow. Another person I've been watching a lot is Mandy Parker. Mandy has been on Flosstube for a long time, several years now, I think, and she is so consistent in her posting. I am just, since I've subscribed earlier this year, I've been blown away of just how consistent she is with her posting, because I am definitely someone who is not consistent. And so she also stitches a wide range of things. She stitches smalls, she'll do Ada projects, she'll do things with gorgeous, hand-dyed floss, hand-dyed fabrics, and she also does full coverage. And I have just really enjoyed seeing the different types of projects she'll stitch and her progress on them. I'm someone who I feel like will never do a full coverage stitch. I just don't think I have it in me, but I love seeing them. And so I particularly enjoy when she shares those. She also has just recently got into junk journaling, and in her either latest video or recent video shared some junk journaling stuff, which I love paper and stickers. So I was very excited and hope she'll share some more of those. And so she is another channel that I think is definitely worth following. And she's just great to watch, great projects. Some larger channels I've been watching are Cam the Stitcher, which is Cam. She is, I think, pretty well known in the community, I would imagine. And she does just the most gorgeous fabric and floss choices. She has beautiful conversions she does. I love the fabrics she chooses for her projects. And she does a lot of quirky stitches and a lot of like spooky Halloween type stitches. And that's stuff that I just love. And so I really love her choices of projects. And like I said, I think she has a great eye for selecting fabrics and selecting floss for her projects. And she recently did like a Vlogtober thing where she had a 20-sided die, and she would like roll the die each day, and that would dictate what project she worked on. It was such a fun format, and just a really enjoyable channel, a great person to listen to talk about cross stitch. And so she's another good follow. And then another larger channel that, again, I think a lot of people have heard of, but has been one that I have been obsessed with, is Cross Stitch the Globe, and that is Stephanie and Allison. They are sisters who both cross stitch and have very different cross stitching styles, and they stitch different types of projects, and so they're really fun updates. I love their Flosstube updates. They also do some Flosstube extras that are really fun. They have a freebie series, which is awesome, where they just share a bunch of freebies. Like they did a Halloween one, a fall one. I think they have a Christmas one coming up if it's not out yet. And so those are really fun. And then they also do like a Cross Stitch Academy, which is a separate video they do where they teach you like basic cross stitch things. And I'll just say they have been super helpful for me. Some of them seem probably really straightforward, but I love watching them because like one of the ones that I really loved was they did a series on different floss like storage for your projects, and they talked about floss drops and floss cards and all that stuff, which I thought was so helpful because my floss, I'm still just throwing skeins in bags and it's just like such a mess. And so to have someone just walk through those basic things of like, this is a floss drop and this is how you use it, has been super helpful for me. And I love that more experienced stitchers also can watch them and comment kind of their systems. And so that is a super helpful resource and entertaining channel. But yeah, those are all my mentions for this video. Like I said, I hope to do more in my future Flosstubes because, you know, this is just such a great community. And a huge thank you again to Kelsey for mentioning me and inspiring me to add this piece to my Flosstube videos. But okay, so jumping onto plans, my main plans are to finish those gift tags. Like I said, I have just a few more of these to do. I think I'm probably done picking new patterns. I'll probably just repeat a couple. Like I'll probably do the holly berries again, probably another gingerbread cookie because I love how that one turned out, and maybe another Rudolph. Rudolph's pretty cute. So I'm going to finish up those tags. I also really need to finish Woodstock because, yeah, I'm hoping to make that a gift, and honestly, it's just a project I also want to be done with. So that's my other work in progress that I'd like to finish up. And then I'm hoping for one new start before Christmas that will be like a new start and finish by Christmas. And that is this one. It is a freebie from the Little Stitcher. You can get it on her website as a digital download, and it is called Christmas Love. I think this is such a sweet stitch, and I would like to stitch it as a ornament gift for someone. I haven't started it yet, so we'll see. December is a lot more calm at work, and so I will have my stitchy time back for my lunch breaks, and hopefully I'll be less tired, so I'll stitch more in the evenings. But those are my three main goals for December, and then my next check-in will be in January, and we'll see. I have like 5 or 6 other projects besides those, all kitted up and ready to go, and it's just been like one of those situations where I have so many things I want to stitch, but like no time to do it. So we'll see what I start between now and my next update. So the last thing I want to do is just a little bit of haul, which is more just thrift finds I'm excited to share with you. So in early November, I was at Goodwill and I stumbled across 2 giant bundles of vintage cross stitch patterns. So I am going to insert a picture here of them all. So they were 2 big bundles, and I think combined they had something like close to 30 patterns in them. Yeah, I think it was like 29 or something between the 2. And I was just losing my mind. I thought that was amazing. I was giddy when I found these patterns. I love vintage cross stitch patterns, especially. I really have a fondness for ones from the 80s and 90s. They just have like such a, I don't know, kitschy, nostalgic vibe to them, and I love it. So that is when most of the kits were from, or most of the patterns were from. And so I am not going to go through all the patterns here today because I want to do a separate Flosstube extra where I organize and go through all of my vintage and secondhand cross stitch patterns because I have quite a problem. I am obsessed with finding and collecting them. And so I really need to go through and probably destash some of them because I'm just never going to have time to stitch all of these. So that will be a separate video. So the next things I'm going to show are all from Whatnot sales. If you have not been on Whatnot, oh man, I probably shouldn't tell you about it because it is so addicting. But Whatnot is kind of like live eBay. It's like a live chat and auction, and the sellers will just go through various things. They have ones for quilting fabrics, which I really enjoy watching. They have them for anything. Like I mainly do fabrics. Anytime I see a show about cross stitch, I like to join those. And then also like vintage holiday decor. Those are also really fun shows. But it is a live auction site, and you can get a lot of secondhand craft supplies for really good prices. And so I was in a cross stitch show recently and got these bread covers from Charles Craft brand. I cannot find these like in the craft stores anymore, so I don't know if Charles Craft stopped making them, but I have some vintage bread cover pattern books that my mom gave me, and I really would like to use stitch some of them. I know that I could probably make this myself by fraying the edge of Ada, but they make these. Why not use them? So I got one in white, two red ones, and then one in this like ivory color. And so I'm very excited. I think I want to do like a Halloween stitch on the white one, a Thanksgiving fall type stitch on the ivory one, and then probably an everyday stitch on one of the reds since red is an accent color in my kitchen. And then I'll use the other red one for a Christmas stitch, just because those are the times that I would like want to have a decorative bread cover, I guess. But I was super excited to get these. And then in that show, I did get some other vintage patterns, but again, I'm going to save those and just do one video with all my secondhand patterns, because there's a lot and I think it would just be fun to go through them and organize them with you. I also on Goodwill, oh my goodness, on Whatnot, got a bunch of scrap fabric for finishing my cross stitch. So let me grab those real quick. Okay. I don't know why I'm taking all of these out. This is like an insane amount of fabric, I realized. But that's because I just really I couldn't pass it up. Like, look at all this stuff. Some of these are fat quarters. Some of these are, I think I have a half yard of a couple different ones. But just tons of beautiful fabrics. Some of them are super small scraps that I got. Like these ones, I think I bought all individually. These were listed individually on Whatnot. But all of these I got in just a scrap pack that I paid like next to nothing for and got so many scraps. They're odd cuts, small sizes, but these are the types of things that would be perfect for finishing like flats or ornaments. And so I think something you definitely can see in my last video is I like finish all my things with the same brown fabric from Walmart because I just don't have fabric. But yeah, I got on Whatnot, went to a couple fabric shows and got a ton of finishing fabric, like an embarrassing amount of finishing fabric. This is another stack. And again, some of these have, this might even be a yard. Some of these that I really liked, I bought a yard of. And then again, some little scrap, like moving everything. Some little scrap pieces as well, again, that I can just use for small finishes. But I can say pretty confidently, I do not need to buy fabric for a really long time because of Whatnot. Well, all right, that will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end here. I had so much fun just sharing my stitch update, talking plans, sharing my secondhand finds, and getting to talk about a few channels that I've been really loving lately. I hope that you had a good time, and definitely if you did, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're well, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.